today's webinar, Research Findings, How TechDoc Fails Service Technicians and How to Fix It, with Fabrice Lacroix of Fluid Topics and Christopher Richtin with Codes. So, welcome to you both.
Thank you, Trish. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining.
Hi, everyone.
So I think stage is going to be handed over to Christopher now, who has a lot to share with us. So Christopher, I make you the presenter and you can go. Stage is yours.
Perfect. I'm trying to share the right screen.
Okay, we're good. Perfect.
Cool. Now I have to find my presentation mode and we could start. Perfect. Yeah, welcome from my side and thank you for invitation, Fabrice. I'm Christopher Richtin, Innovation Manager at COTES, and in the next, about 30 minutes, I will present you some of the results of our second Insight Report service, which I had the pleasure of designing. With the results of this survey, we would like to once again put a spotlight on the need on information for what information is needed in the service sector. What does the service sector want from technical documentation and what potential can still tapped here? This is what the following will be about. But before that, before we should start, why is such a survey needed at all, you may ask. I don't know what jobs you came from. I think most of you are from the technical documentation sector, but let me bring you up into my world for a moment. And yeah, if you want to guide people without being able to interact live with them or directly with them, I have to consider the following three things among others, in my opinion. Most important is the audience as well. I'm writing for, and I can't write a proper guide if you can't write a proper guide if you don't know your target audience. For example, if I'm describing how to change oil in a car for a layperson, I have to describe and illustrate simply everything. Where does the oil go in and out? What oil do I need? How much of it do I need for sure? What other parts and tools do I need and how do I use them correctly, etc. You know what I mean? And if I describe the oil change for a mechanic, I might only have to describe the spare part numbers, the quantity or the specification of the oil, and I'm done. If that example was too abstract for you, here's another one. As you can see on the picture, in the 1930s, I think it was, an American inventor invented this beautiful cage. His intention was children need fresh air and light for a healthy development. So why not hang them out of the kitchen window in cages? Well, I don't have children. Maybe you like to hang out your teenagers out of the window sometimes, but this doesn't seem to have the case with babies. The inventor meant it well, but he have not his target group in mind. The second factor I have to consider is the use case. On the one hand, the use case that have to be documented at all. Hopefully, I don't have to describe a tire change to a car mechanic, but perhaps I do it to a layman. If you have to document a machine, the choice of use cases can account for several hundred modules or pages in your documentation. And in addition, the use case in which the target group will use the documentation is crucial too. Is the document, device, or software suitable for the operation environment in which it's needed? And if you can't remember that, here's another example to smile about maybe. I know two things. Firstly, one or two of you maybe have an iPhone in your pocket, maybe in your hand. Please lay it away. Also, none of you will have the Amazon Fire Phone with you. This was supposed to be Jeff Bezos' iPhone killer. To the end, dynamic perspective, among other things, was developed in great expense. You see it here in the left corner. It was a feature of that. It was supposed to give you a 3D view on a mobile phone without these 3D glasses. unfortunately, there were hardly any use case for that on a mobile phone, and the battery ran out even faster than with an iPhone, and this is not a feature you want to have from another phone. Yeah, and the third factor to consider is technology. In many companies that deal with the transformation of their business models, digitalization or Industry 4.0, something I call technology dropping likes to happen in workshops and meetings, and I'm sure you know it as well. Technologies are brainstormed and that someone somewhere has seen or read or heard about, and then they try to build solution around these technologies they brainstorm, and normally that does not work. Get to know the target group first thing, and yeah, and the use case, and then select the appropriate technology. It doesn't necessarily have to be the one that's most hype in the moment. Think about Apple's tablet Newton from 1993. I'm sure the technology was not as advanced as it is today, but in fact, there were too few use cases at that time and too small target group for the product. So these three things, in my opinion, you need if you want to guide people properly, and if you want to guide people in specific service technicians, there are not much information out there or figures out there what information they really need. So we try to get that information out directly from the service technicians, and yeah, I'm proud to present the results to you today. And there were a few things I want to outline in my presentation. The first place, who is responsible for the Insight Report Service 2023? How is our survey, or what facts about the report itself are there? And what are the service what are the service documentation needs of service technicians? How information should be prepared and presented to them? And finally, where does the information they currently use come from, and what are their wishes for the future? Okay. Together with the three large service organizations from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, KVD, KVA, and SKDV, we surveyed service technicians for the second time, primarily on how they use service documentation. Service is an exciting sector, as you might know, because that's why you're here. And yeah, in these service organizations, there are more than 1,800 members. These members are not single persons. This is company memberships there. So it's a lot more persons involved in the service organizations. And in another study from the KVD from 2021, you can see the source data in the right corner. There was 78% of the companies that say that they made more than 10% of the revenue in the service business. So it's a lot of music in there, we say here. And found another statistic which prognosticates for 2025 12 billion euro industry revenue in the service sector. So we asked the service organizations to help us to get to the service technicians that we can ask them, and they want. And we are the fourth path in this troop, and yeah, we are Cotus Smart Information Solutions, and we are a full service provider for user and service information such as technical documentation. We design and create appropriate content, hopefully, and we are able to translate into almost all languages of the world with our translator network. And we provide consult independently on all topics relating to user service information. We are also happy to help you with software selection, specification, and implementation. Yeah, this is the foundation for the Insight Report Service 2022. And how was this designed? We asked the people in 4 categories. We want to know from them who they are, what service documentation they use today, what they want to use, how they use it, how they want to use it, and where the information came from. We did this with 19 questions. Depending on the answers given, you don't have to answer all the 19 questions. And if you have to answer all questions, you have possible answers more than 100. We have an eye on it that because service technicians have everything but no time, that they don't spend more than 10 minutes to answer our survey. I said it before, we asked in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. The survey was in German. And the survey runs from April to July, 14 weeks. Yes, let's go into the details. The respondents. Where from which industry sectors are there the respondents? Machinery and equipment manufacturing industry. 43.6% is the largest number here, and after following directly is 24% also from the automotive sector. 12.8% choose others. Others mean in this case it was a free text. If you're answering others, you have the opinion, you have the option to give a free text answer. And they included, for example, in industrial trucks, safety technologies or loading technologies and much more. Nearly 12% are choosing energy supply and so on. You can see here the following numbers. Yes, the age range in our survey was 9.5%, between 18 and 29 years old, 59.7% 30 to 49 years old, and 30.9% 50 to 65 years old. And I'm sure you know there are not enough skilled workers in the foreseeable future out there, and there will be more people retired than enter the new job market. So this could be representative for a lot of companies and whole structure out there. And retaining, distributing, and building knowledge in companies is becoming increasingly difficult in this environment. Yes, we ask where you mainly deployed for your service tasks, and 63% are deployed to Germany, 4.5% to Switzerland, 38% to Austria, and 5.4% are going to have no focus on these countries, going to worldwide service tasks. Yeah, one of the first questions regarding the content is how much time per day do you spend searching for information to complete your service tasks? And here's the results. 1.8% say I don't need any information. Okay, there are the wise service technicians out there that don't need help. It's fine. 7.9% says I find information right away. Okay with that. And 56% say 30 minutes to 1 hour they searching for or look for information every day. 24.1% 1 to 2 hours, and 9.6% say looking more than 2 hours every day for the information they need to complete their service task. And I break it down to the biggest sector in our service, machinery equipment manufacturing sector, and you can see the results here. I don't know from which sectors you are, and yes, maybe now, maybe after my presentation, please calculate for yourself what potential could be achieved here with your own service costs, what effect you might have when you could save 10 or 20% of the search time of your service staff. And it's a big range, and maybe it's the only argument you need to become a higher priority for your technical documentation within your companies. Yes, a lack of information, does it influence the first time fix rate? Or the original question, was how often did a lack of information lead to service cases not being solved on the first call and further calls are becoming necessary. And these are results never to 10%, 10, 20%, and so on. You can see it here. And the biggest point of focus is on the 10%, but almost 95% of the respondents are stated that the lack of information was really the reason for at least one further call out. And that's a big number depending on where your service tasks, where you want to perform your service tasks. If you have to do it directly at the plant or customer side, then it could be a long way to get there, only for looking for the information you have to get with you. What information are missing in the service? You'll see a focus here on the biggest part, the step-by-step procedures for repair tasks here on the left side. I'm not sure if you see my mouse. Following from step-by-step procedures for maintenance tasks, FAQs, and so on, installation, removal instructions, and troubleshooting information. Interesting fact that that the people missing troubleshooting information within the service documentation, isn't it? And we gave the topic once more twist to ask what information are really essential in the service sector. And here they say 45.8% for them is the troubleshooting information essential. And as you remember in the page before, there are only a third that have them with them when they are in service. And okay, here are the besides the basic information here, like circuit wiring diagrams, maintenance plans, and so on. These are the basics. I think most of them have them when they are out there for service jobs. And give it another twist and ask what information would be helpful in service. And these are results here. We can't get enough. And we see again step-by-step procedures and troubleshooting is in focus here. And it is precisely that information which is the most time-consuming to produce. And this is, as you can see here, most helpful to service technicians out there, which is straightly an argument for that people who always say that the service technicians need more information than only constructional drawings or something like that. Yes, the figure for when do you need technical documentation? We ask for safe or further education to prepare trainings for fault diagnosis, troubleshooting, to be guided step by step to prepare service deployment, to research spare parts, to look up setting values and parameters. And yes, what a surprise, 90% looking in the service documentation for fault diagnosis and troubleshooting. The figures for self-study and further education are a bit surprising. In most cases, and don't know your service documentation, but in most cases, the service documentation is not designed as a training material and is therefore only partly is suitable for this purpose. You should check how it is used in your company, to be honest. And if you achieve the same or nearly the same values, it makes sense to think about an own learning or e-learning concept in your company. Yes, the service technicians make their own notes. I give you a second to answer the question for you in your head. And the result in our survey looks like this. Nearly 90% makes their own notes and creates their own knowledge base in the pocket, if you want so. And just 10% didn't. And I asked myself if there's only the older service personnel people who are on their own knowledge base in the pocket, but it wasn't so. The group between 30 and 49 years a bit more tending to the yes group than the older people from the service technician side. And what hinders the search for information when they're really out there? And it's not clear where to search, it's not clear how to search. The information found is incomprehensible. The documents, necessary software are generally not available at the time when they need it, not available, or at the place where they need it, not available. And this is how it looks. And yeah, almost 60% do not even know where to look. And in dictamen terms of TechNoc integration in company for information structuring or provision of the information you want to give the people out there. And yeah, 34.9% information is found incomprehensible. Yeah, as you might know, usability is one of the decisive factors for technical documentation and should be a better result here. And to be honest, under these circumstances, it would be better not to prepare any technical documentation. It will be a cheaper solution for that. And yeah. How's the information currently provided, we ask, and mostly as a PDF download, as you can see here, following by online on an information portal or website, documents that available offline of a tablet or laptop, and 43.8% by printed document. And yeah, as you can imagine, the people who receive the documentation as a printed document, 57% say this is not the best medium. And have a look here on the 20.6% gets the information via an app or on a smartphone or tablet, and 46.8% would prefer the app on a smartphone or tablet. What a surprise. I think most of us need several apps a day, so why shouldn't service technician would it? Yeah, but the biggest point here, online on an information portal or website, as you might know, you can combine these two functionalities in the real world. Yes, do you have the information ready to hand when you need it? The original question was, do you have the information you need at hand at the place and time you need it? And it's nearly a 50-50 result. It's don't look really spectacular, to be honest, but if you think about it, it is spectacular. More than 50% say, no, I don't have the information to hand when I need it. And we try to figure out why and ask, okay, why don't you have the information ready to hand? And the paper document is too big or bulky, it's not available at the place of use, it's not working it's not suitable for the working environment. The tablet, laptop, smartphone is not suitable for the working environment, or no internet is available. Yes, 70% say no internet available. The internet or mobile network coverage is normally not so bad in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. But if you have to work in a basement, or if you have to work offshore, or in a big car plant, you sometimes have to have no internet, or you are not allowed to use it for some data privacy regulations. And if your service staff have this constraint of no available internet, then please remember my first slides. Your audience and the use cases determine the technology, and let the software manufacturer show you proper offline features, and let them show you in the first point of the pitch and not on the last point of the agenda, on your agenda. Yeah, who writes the information for the service technicians? As you can see here, 62% in the own service department, 46.9% own department for technical documentation, and so on. more than one answer was possible here, so we have more than 100% here, as you can see. And most of the problems we had seen in the figures before, typically homemade. And look for advice, look for consulting, you burn money, and the team morale with bad documentation, as you've seen before. And would service technicians like to give feedback? This is maybe one good news for all tech writers out there. I don't want to be able to give feedback. I would like to give feedback before we publish it, like a proofreading before publication. I want to rate with stars, like an Amazon rating or something like that. I would like to be able to comment on the information in digital portal for all to see, and I like to be able to comment only on the information in a digital portal anonymously and only visible to the creators. These are results, and yeah, unfortunately not a clear winner here, but exciting to see for me here is many want to give feedback in some form. And in fact, it is interesting to see how often software makes it impossible to exchange between the service technicians. And talk a lot of service experts in the last 2 years, and it's not for nothing that WhatsApp and other chat apps, one of the most popular channels in the service for exchanging information. Yeah, but before I go to the next slide, I think Fabrice, you
yes,
have...
Yes. I think we're at the point where that would be interesting after everything you've shown here to see what the audience can share regarding their way of working and the problems. So we have this, and let me run the poll. So I think you should see that now, audience. And so it is, what challenges does your organization encounter most? Information is obsolete or missing. It's difficult to find information, where and how to search. Format of the information is not fit for the field technicians, like PDFs or printed, as shared before by Christopher. Remote access to info is difficult or impossible, relating probably to this lack of internet access and connectivity, or no custom documents are available for specific installations, for example. So you should see the poll and be able to answer that. Multiple answers possible.
By the way, if you have any questions, please write down in the chat. We will pick up your questions after the presentation.
Okay. It's coming. 60% of you have answered. Bit more. Yes, no. I'll give you 10 more seconds. The more of you replied, the better. Okay. Then, how do I do that? Close the poll. Here we are. And I think there's a way I can share the results. Okay, here we are. You see the results. So, oh my God. Information is obsolete or missing, 63%. It's difficult to find information, 63%. Well, I think it's quite in line with what you've shared earlier. No, I think we are around the same numbers. That findability remains one of the most biggest challenge for everyone. Interesting. Format of the information is not fit for the field, still PDFs, 38%, okay. Remote access to information is difficult or impossible, 42%. So I think it's pretty much in line with what you describe, even though we take for granted that network coverage is good everywhere. It looks like it's not always the case when you're serving machines and doing field maintenance work. and no custom developments are available. So it does not look to be a challenge here, having custom development for specific machines, specific installations. Okay, so any comment on that relating to your own numbers, Christopher? So I give you the screen sharing back. You have the numbers, is that okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you're back on your screen.
Cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's often it's simply a surprise if people see it, yeah, black on white, what the figures are in reality. But in a lot of companies, it's really the same. So we find it on every presentation that the people could identify with the results. Yeah. Okay. I will go straight to my next slide. And in the end of our survey, we asked the people, what do you want from the service information or technical documentation you use? And summarized and ranked out of more than 90 free text answers, the service documentation should have been the following properties. And you see here available, understandable, complete, and up to date. And up to date, okay, this is fine, but maybe I think this is the minimum that good information should have in common. Maybe some others from the list are more interesting, in my opinion. Like you see here, commentable. You can't comment paper documentation, and you hardly comment on PDF documents if you want to share the knowledge with other people's. And if maybe you have a PDF with your own comments on, then it's not really updatable. So you can serve people with up-to-date information. And this is an interesting point, I think. Expire date, when you see when you think about knowledge bases or something like that, filled in the beginning with a lot of information, and the more information is in it, the more useful it becomes. And some information need an expire date. And if you think of lifelong documentation with your product life cycle, then you have an expire date for, or revision date cycles to hold your documentation up to date. That's things I find interesting. Commentable, you know it from your private life, from YouTube or whatever platform you like. The information gains with often, or in best case, with the comments down on the tutorials you look, and yeah, it's getting more and more helpful. And this is one of the things I think why WhatsApp and chat software like this is so important in the service documentation sector. Yeah. Okay. In case you did not want to or could not listen to me for so long, here I summarized down my results to 4 insights for your notepad if you want. And the first topic is time. Yeah, success in service depends on the availability of the right information. You see the figures in the beginning about how long service technicians, or how much time service technicians spend to search for the right information they need, and it must be very frustrating to be out there and doing service in a lot of cases. So this is the first factor, is relevant. The second one is content. Unfortunately, I have to say there is no one-fits-all solution out there. These figures can help you to argue within your company, or getting focus on the topic service information. But as you see in figures like the one for that they need the information for further documentation, this won't be the case for every company out there. So you have to analyze your own target group if you want to create a documentation concept for your company, and you have to look on your own target audience and their use cases. And third one, digital. The information medium must be intuitive, capable of feedback, updatable, and offline capable. I think we all can agree there that service documentation concept should be thought in a digital first mindset and not a paper first mindset. And last but not least, unfortunately, troubleshooting. The main task of service documentation is not solved. To identify errors and solve them step by step. As you can see here, there's a big need out there to get more information about the topics. And it's not wondering me, to be honest, because a service technician is a very high-skilled person, and if they have a look at the service documentation, they need advice, and they want them as a step-by-step procedure. And yeah, they need help. They don't look in the service documentation because they have nothing else to do. And if you go on that topic and pick it up and set it as a goal of your company to revise your service documentation concept, I write a generic roadmap to more efficiency in service. You have to adopt this roadmap for sure for your own company. Some starts from another beginning as others, as you might know. And the first step should be determine the situation in your own organization and participate maybe in an insight report service survey, or best of all, analyze it for yourself, analyze your own target group, and yeah, make the information process visible and clarify what exactly is to be achieved within your company strategy. You don't have only only a service documentation strategy. A company normally have a customer experience strategy, and the documentation strategy should fit in there. The second point is design. Yeah, design information concept regarding content. What type of content do you need? What kind of media you want to present according to the objectives you find in the define phase before. After that, and this is like on my first slide, first target audience, then the use cases, and after that the software. And you select the software, review your software landscape, and then create and deliver the information and collect feedback for your customer. Maybe you need some new software, maybe you have to revise your existing software landscape to get the results you want. Then call it create, this meaning designing the processes, design the process according to the objectives and software, how feedback is received, how the feedback is proceed to new content or to revised content, and so on. And after that, maybe you have new fancy product to provide technical information, that you will start with a minimum viable product, and yeah, then you have to review the results, make a usability test or something like that, and then please create KPIs for sustained operations, that you always have on mind how you are on your company's roadmap to better service documentation to reach your goals. Okay, and that is it with my presentation. And unfortunately, the report is currently only available in German, but you can download it from the website. And yeah, if you're interested in English version, please write me or write at marketing@cotis.com. And if enough will be interested, I'm sure my colleagues will find a way to translate it to English. And Yeah, that's for now from my side, and I'm looking forward to the discussion. If you like, you can connect with me or us on LinkedIn and stay in touch. So
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
Christopher. Wow. Oh my God. That is at the same time insightful and it's frightening me. I mean, it's absolutely frightening me. And maybe I can take 5 minutes. We have a few questions already, but before, and please, you can start asking your questions in the questions pane of the GoToWebinar, and we'll take them. But maybe I can take a few minutes before that and to share a bit of what we do and how we see that problem and how we address it with 3 topics as well. Because as you know, we are, so to say, part of the solution, because we are working on this on the software side to see how we can. I think I have to become the presenter for that. How does this work to make me the presenter? Change presenter, no, not here.
Maybe I should stop to share my
No,
screen.
no, it's okay. I can.
Okay.
Okay, so I can share. Wait a sec. I have to open this first. If I do this, and I can share. I don't know which one I'll be sharing. Okay, that's the right one. So I'll take a few minutes just to remind you what we do at 3 topics and how we relate to that problem of field service enablement, so to say. So as maybe you know, some of you know about who we are, what we do. We are a software vendor. And the software we develop is a content delivery platform, which means that a software stack, that's a solution that is meant to collect, aggregate any type of documentation that you have in any format. We align, we transform that content, we enrich that content to build what you see in the middle, this purple dot, which is fine-grained, enriched knowledge repository. And then we make that content available through different touch points, can be TechDoc portal, and can be as well, and we have lots of examples, feeding existing or very specific field maintenance apps that run on mobile devices, or designing TechDoc portals that are specifically crafted for field technicians that they can access through the internet. So, and we also have this offline reading capabilities. So see what you mean by there, and we develop that for that reason. So that's our mission. That's what we do. We help our customers, tech industries, achieve this digital transformation that you are describing here for those 2 use cases. The main one that people have in mind is customer support, but for us, we see large part of our mission to transform the field service operations as well, exactly because of what you have described here. We feel that this is an underserved market, and if you look at some of our customers, you can see that we have those 2 kinds of use cases and 2 types of customers. On the left side of the slide, customers like software vendors, Workday, Teradata, Hexagon, Palo Alto. Those guys are more on the customer support use case side, while what you see on the right side, those manufacturing companies like Johnson Controls in the building technology, Kone or Schindler, which are leading elevator manufacturers, Roche Diagnostics in the medical devices, Siemens, Liebherr, all those companies that we work with have the exact problem that you have described here, which is how can we change the way we enable our technician, we deliver that content on the field, not on the web for the end user like we do for software vendors, but really the audience for those people like Liebherr is really the people on the field that work 24/7 and that must make sure that those devices are always up and running. And that's very interesting because when we have those discussions with those 2 types of customers that we have, we really see the difference in terms of expectations and needs with those customers that are very, very focused on the field service use case. And that's interesting because you've been mentioning at the beginning this 30% of the technicians are age 50 or plus, and they are soon to retire. And this, when you talk to those customers, those large companies, they are very aware of that, and that they see this upcoming wave of retirement from the baby boomers coming, and they are absolutely afraid of that. They are desperately looking on how to solve that challenge, because basically people that are going to retire have been working in their companies, have been field technicians working on the machine's device for more than 20, 30, 40 years. They know a lot about those machines, and they will be replaced by this younger generation that has been born digital, that has been raised with Facebook and TikTok, and they have this challenge on how do we make sure, and that probably will only stay a year, 2 years, 3 years in the company, and will then change job. So as opposed to working with people serving knowledge to people that are very experienced, they will have to deliver that knowledge to people that are less experienced and probably will have only a few months to ramp up, because anyway, they will leave the company after a few years. So this is a huge challenge, a new paradigm of delivering and consuming information and helping those technicians be efficient. So that's very interesting that you mentioned this aging paradigm in the field technicians, or those field technicians, because that's really frightening many of our customers, and they are desperately looking on how to solve that. And that's something we have in mind when we design free topics. The other way we present free topics as a product, and that's going to be a way to relate to probably kickstart the discussion here. Usually we present free topics as a platform. That's a software solution that, as I said earlier, is able to ingest any type of content and create what you have described here, which is creating a unified knowledge repository. Because one of the numbers you've mentioned in the discussion is people don't even know where to go to find the information. And I think this is a problem that is already solved. I mean, I don't understand why companies are still struggling with that. If you just take a product like Free Topics, that's exactly what we do. We aggregate all this content in one place. We make it easily findable. It comes with super advanced search technology, very modern search technologies that people can use, and they can find the info they need in a matter of seconds. So that's interesting. You see that you have these numbers that 50–60% of the companies are, and the people are still struggling in where to go, how to find information, knowing that that's exactly the problem we solve. So it also tells a story that we should spend more energy in educating the market, explaining what we do, because this is a critical problem for those companies, for many companies out there, but that's a solved problem. I mean, that's crazy to think about it this way. Another thing when we present free topics, and that is part of the vision, is that it's a workplace. And I think that's when we say it's a workplace, we feel that we try to re-implement in free topics all the tools that people need for interacting, engaging with TechDog. You said, like, I don't remember the exact number, like 50% of the people like to take notes, okay, and want to take notes and comment on the doc. And that's something they were used to do on paper. But that was easy. When you have a paper-based documentation, you can open the book, the binder, you take a pen, and you can take notes on the margin on what you do, what to do next, draw something, write a note for the next time you come, or for the next field technician that will serve the machine. And by turning into the digital way, PDFs especially, we have lost this capability to share, to write, to capitalize, to engage with the content, to interact with the content. That was easier on paper. It's crazy. And that's part of the vision we have in Free Topic, is that we have to re-implement the tools that people need for not just researching and reading TechDoc, but for making of TechDoc a workplace. That's where they can share knowledge, capitalize, write something for the next time, remember things, comment, not just for sending feedback to the writing team. That's one of the features there. We have that, or rating content. But that's not the key parts to me. I mean, rating content, saying it's good or bad, doesn't make the content, the TechDoc, more efficient, does not solve this problem that technicians have, that is capitalizing around the content. So that's part of what we do in Free Topics as well. We have this vision of, and we have features in place to help those technicians work and comment on the content. And just as an example, we have a feature in Free Topics which is called personal books, which is, for example, letting people create their own manuals on the fly in few clicks to prepare maintenance work. And that was designed with this use case in mind. That's interesting because when we designed the personal book feature, that was really to let people, technicians particularly, work in advance or have someone work for them, if not themselves, prepare some complex maintenance work. And instead of having to search and go through 10, 20 or 10 different manuals, take notes while you're on the field, is can't you build in 5 minutes before that the manual that you need that just aggregates and reorganizes just the content that you need to execute what you have to do the next day. So those are sort of features we have built into the platform for streamlining and easing the work of those technicians. And that's part of what we built into the system. So that's interesting because most of the things that you have described here, that's exactly the discussions we have with some of these customers, and they are in desperate need of, okay, give us a solution, please. And that's what we do. That's what we are, working on with Free Topics. So interesting point here. So I will stop sharing my slides here. That's enough slide. And maybe it's time for us to go to this, to the questions. So, and just for the full transparency for the audience here, Cotet is a partner of us in Germany. So we have been working with them on Siemens or for other projects. So they know the solution well. And again, they are very, very knowledgeable about how to change this tech doc delivery. And running this survey was, for me, wow, it was at the same time mind-blowing because everybody feels that something is going wrong, but seeing the numbers, seeing that people complain not knowing where to go to find information, it's crazy. It's crazy to see that. Okay, so first questions that we have here. A question for you, Christopher. How much of what's outlined in this report reflects on the problems your customers are reporting? Because you're here, okay, I see the point. Here, you've been interviewing field technicians, but when you talk yourself at Cotes with the tech doc departments, which are not the consumer of the information, are they aware of this problem? Do they have the same feeling? Or it's like, oh my God, we didn't know that? Or it's like, yeah, we know. So I'm sad to see that. Okay, the numbers confirm what we thought. Is there a gap there?
Absolutely, and it's interesting. The fun fact, as you might see in the figures, is that technical writers and the service technicians want the same. So the technical writers need feedback to make the information better, to create better technical documentation, and the service technicians, as you see, want to give feedback and want to share the knowledge in the organization. And we have a couple of events in the last weeks between the TECOM, which is Organization for Technical Communication here in Europe, and the service organizations in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. And it's interesting to see on the one side of the room there are service technicians, on the other side of the room there are the technical writers. It's like a wedding situation. It's the man's side, it's the women's side, and they're talking about the same problems. That they want to provide proper information, and on the other side, that they need proper information. They want to give feedback, but it depends a bit on what companies you are asking. But sometimes the bigger organizations have the problem that the information pools within the organization, that the one department have its content management system, and the other department have maybe it's file server system or have an other system to share the documents within the organization. And it's different information pools. It's not an information lake for the whole company, which all work together in there. So yeah, so often both sides are surprised about the figures and how dramatic they are.
Well, probably the most amazing part is that maybe top management is not enough aware of that. That's where you need the numbers, because if usually the technicians know the problem and the tech doc department know the problem as well, or at least have a strong feeling about it, have a good sense of it.
This is one reason for us to publish the figures out from our survey, because to create an awareness for the topic within the management. As you need if you're a salesman, you know you need the management attention to get things done or get things started.
So the problem is more the management than the gap between the writers and the technicians. Next question. Someone says, I was stunned by the very first metrics you gave. The time spent searching for information is simply alarming. It is certainly the final results of many things going wrong. In your experience, what drives this very poor efficiency in searching documents? What's the root cause? Why are people struggling that much? I mean, search technology is good enough today. Why are people struggling?
Yeah,
I cannot reply. I mean, with free topics, everything's perfect. So, so maybe it's just because they don't have free topics, but maybe you can give another answer than this one. I'm biased here.
Yeah, there's a lot of software out there like yours, who's able to solve a lot of the problems the companies have. But I think there are a few reasons for that. One is often the information structure is historically grown, as I said. So you have an information structure within the companies and their knowledge base, file server, you have chats like WhatsApp, you have maybe an information portal that once before you have whatever system to use. I don't want to blame single systems, and this is one of the problems. We have a lot of systems, and every system is on a different level of update. You don't know where you have to look to get the right up-to-date information out of and what you should use. And some use the systems they preferred and don't find the proper solution because it's in the newer version of an information portal that's in the company. The second one is, I think there's some senior service experts often in the companies that have a high level of craftsmanship and high knowledge of the technology and the products of the company, but they won't want to travel anymore to get the service tasks done out there. So they stay in the headquarters doing remote service and help the people out there with the information and the knowledge they have. And they often write then service documentation and technical documentation for the service colleagues, but they're not necessarily a skilled technical writer. And maybe they are experts in the systems, but maybe they don't have the craftsmanship and technical writing skills they should have to prepare the information in a more didactic way to solve problems out there. And the third one, you mentioned it before, is of course there's no management attention often for the topics. And yeah, but I think this will change, to be honest. And it's more or less in the discussion that service technical documentation, marketing, product development, salesman, everything is on the same side. There's only one customer experience for the companies out there. It's not depending on B2B or B2C market. There's one customer experience, and the companies want to design that customer experience, and therefore you have to combine the strengths of service documentation or from good service and technical communication. So I'm hopeful that this will change the management attention to this point. And after that, simply when all stars align and the companies are willing to change something here, this one crucial thing they will often forgotten, it's the change management within the companies. It's all about the people. You will change nothing if you only work on software and the processes. You have to get the people involved who you're working with. Yeah.
Okay.
Long answer for a short question. Sorry.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Seeing that digital first sentiment is a big part of technicians' thought is very interesting. So did you find that this was the same level of digital first buy-in from technician, or is it a new or increasing view in this survey? So do you feel like, it's back to just what you said, change management, do you feel like technicians are asking more of that, or there's still a bit of pushback? Will that change based on the new generation stepping in? How do you feel? How is it changing this? I want it digital first and nothing else, or is...
I think digital worth is a good way to provide information today, and it's simply also a good way to create information and manage information. If you find out that, if you ask your audience in your company and you really find that they need printed documentation to solve their problems, there's nothing against it, but you will be more efficient if you design it in a digital way. Then you have the possibilities to deliver it in the near future, also in a digital way. This is why I say I would design it digital first and think digital first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's...
And I'm not sure about if it's a generation conflict or not with new media. And my parents use digital technologies all the day. My grandma calls me via WhatsApp video calls, and it's more a personal thing than a generation conflict, I think. And yeah, maybe for the younger person, you can't provide an 18-year-old service technician with information portal, which is not allow him to interact in any way, like giving feedback, rate something, or send a message to someone. It's dead information in that case.
Okay. Oh, tough question. This one is really for you because it's on the contest side. Any findings about how to avoid missing information between SME and technical communicators, so subject matter experts, technical communicators, when we are dealing specifically with information for field technicians? So how to avoid missing information between the two? How do you bridge the gap? How do you organize your work? I mean, that's where Codes is very good at helping people achieve this.
There are a lot of methods out there in the technical communication sector to get the information from the people, like going out with a service technician in the field and ask them simple questions, like the companies would do with new service technicians who join the company. They go with a senior or experienced service technicians on the first days to learn what to do out there. Yeah, we can fill the whole evening or morning, depends on where you're looking from, to discussing what methods are available there. And this is the first thing, the methods to get the information. And the second thing is maybe a process topic. You can use agile methods like Scrum to develop service documentation or technical documentation as well. You don't have to go to the company, ask questions for 1 or 2 hours, go back into your room and home office and write the documentation right down, and in the end no one can work with your documentation. You can do an agile process for that as well. Yeah.
Maybe I can add to this one, but I don't know if I should open that door as like how generative AI can help SMEs write tech doc in a better way. so that you don't have this complex relationship. Maybe that's another subject, but you see here, one of the problems you mentioned is that SMEs are not necessarily good tech writers. So you need this interaction between the two. And maybe there's something here on generative AI where it's not like it cannot invent the dog. I mean, the Gen AI cannot invent the dog, but could help SMEs write the dog in a better way.
I don't think it's often a problem of understanding and way of complexity and technology. I think it's more a problem of socializing with each other to get the information you want. But yes, AI will have a big impact on how we create information and how we will get answers out of information pools in the near future. I think, and I hope.
We'll see. Okay, what a question. This one is for me, rapid, because I don't have many details. How well does FT integrate with a software like Oracle? I would say that's an open platform. It's designed to be integrated with, on the upstream side, aggregating content from any sources of content, and downstream serving that content, delivering that content to any touch point content as a service. So I would say, yes, it integrates pretty easily and seamlessly with other software, including Oracle. I have a question here. Will links or QR codes for the reports be supplied after the talk? That's what you mentioned, Christopher, that they should reach out to you or to Cotes. So marketing@cotes.com if you want to get access to this report.
Yes, you can download it in the German version, but please write a message. So if you're interested in an English version, so I can
share it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have the last question that we have, unless someone else asks a new question, is I've seen in the report that PDF download were still among the preferred medium. Preferred, I don't know, because as you said, people say it's a lot, but that's not what we like. But here the question says preferred medium, at least well-used medium, still a lot in right after more modern experiences through online portals and apps. How do you explain that? Do you feel like people use it because they don't have the choice to, or that's because the apps for reading online content are not good? How do you explain that PDF is still so strong? So is that a choice? Is that the weakness of the alternatives, or is that because people love PDF?
Yeah, maybe it's also historically grown because in first step, I think in the SME environment, often people create technical documentation with the software they have, and this might MS Word to start with, and therefore they create PDF documents to share with each other. And maybe this will change with the new availability of new systems and in the companies, but maybe it's the argument you bringing a few minutes before, that the PDF document is, you can write comments in a PDF document, and so you can you can save your own knowledge on a simple place. You can't update the PDF document really well, but you can add comments to the PDF document, and if you like, you could share it with other people. And so I think it was the simplest way to provide digital information to the people. But it's, as we know, PDF is digital form of paper.
Yeah, it's just paper in another way, 0-1 paper. So I take from it that it's more because people don't have the right alternative yet, so at least in place, so that they can get rid of PDF and switch to something else. Last new question: does Fluid Topics have analytics of customer happiness after taking the platform into use? Well, yes, we do. Direct and indirect. We see that indirectly by how much the usage of the platform grows when it's rolled out. At least I think like for all of our customers, when they switch to Fluid Topics, they know the traffic they have and the usage they have on their existing TechDoc web delivering TechDoc. Then they switch to Fluid Topics, and even though the old platform used to be like quite flat, then they start they rapidly see the growth of usage and people coming back and starting engaging with content. So we see that through analytics, we see that through rating, and more interestingly, we do have customers that have conducted studies with their own users, focus groups, and they have even numbers on and verbatims on how people interact, use the tool. So yes, we have a lot of info about customer and user happiness when Fluid Topics is put in place, and I can tell you it's huge. I mean, it's always amazing us how huge people love it and the impact it has. So yeah, so we have that. We'll be glad to share that with you if you want. Oh, yet another question, same person. And is it about the technical people creating docs or people consuming? What you refer to here, lacking context. Question is, and is it about technical people creating docs or people consuming? I think everything we've said today was about content consumption. I mean, it's maybe that was relating that same like the integration with Oracle. If that's the integration with Oracle, it's about, well, we can do both content creation, content consumption. We can connect with the platforms on the two sides, and yes, that's it. I don't know, but I think we have replied to all the questions here. Trish, last word.
Wonderful, wonderful, very informative, and very also, I would encourage people to visit our CIDM website to see this webinar, as well as we've done our own studies.
Good point. You have studies on field specifically relating to field technicians and use of content on field service?
Not necessarily so specific, but
okay.
we had it more as a generalized.
So that would be a good complement to that. That would be good info as well. Okay, so, but I think, yeah, if I had to say one word as a conclusion, I would say, as we said earlier, probably technicians as well as the tech writing teams are quite aware of the situation. At least they don't have the numbers. But here, having those numbers is really a tool for those teams that they can use for reaching out to upper management and say, we can prove the problem. We have those numbers. You need to help us. We have those challenges, and we can back those challenges with numbers and show you the improvement we can bring to the company. And I think that's what we needed. So I think that's why I absolutely love this survey that you did, this study, because really it helps not only putting numbers at what we all share and understand here in this webinar, but mostly helping us as well, educating in companies to upper management, say it's time for action. We cannot remain any longer in this situation. I mean, it's gonna be terrible otherwise, especially with this retirement. We have a retirement coming. You need to act now and change, because there are lots of money to be saved, lots of efficiency to be found by changing the way you not only write, craft, engineer, but as well deliver this content. So yeah, that's for me it's like take those numbers, use them, and show them to your management. I would say that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Christopher. Thank you so much for sharing all these insights and knowledge with us. That was absolutely enlightening. So thank you very much again for your time.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Thank you both.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you all. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.